The morning after the verdict was unusually quiet in Huntsville. After the previous day's upheaval, media outcry, and social media storm, today the city seemed to be taking a long breath. But there was something in that silence too, a feeling, a new chapter in the story and a new motivation hidden in one's heart. Melody was standing by her bedroom window. The light rays of the sun were passing through the curtains and falling on his face. There was no sleep in his eyes, but peace. She couldn't sleep all night, but there was a strange light in his heart, as if at the end of the dark tunnel of years. A small flame of hope has been lit. His diary was kept on the table, the same diary in which he wrote his pains, dreams, and fears. Today, he turned his hand on its cover and said slowly, "The story isn't over. It just took a different turn." Melody wasn't just a mother anymore. She had become an example. After the court verdict, the media started sending him requests for interviews. People wanted to listen to him. The woman who quietly won the court, and she proved herself without making noise. But Melody made a decision. I will speak, but only when my words light someone's heart, not just make headlines. He called his team. 7th Avenue Beauty Office had a special meeting today. On the walls were pictures of his new products. Tables decorated with scents, natural oils, and colors of confidence. Melody's eyes landed on a poster on which was written, "Strength isn't loud. It's quiet, consistent, and divine." He smiled and said, "This will be our new slogan, because I want every woman to recognize the strength in her silence." After the meeting, she reached her children's school. This time, the media was banned. Melody didn't want her children's smiles to be part of the headlines. As her children ran across the gate, he spread his arms. "Come, my heroes." This moment was the greatest achievement in the world for him. The court's decision was not just a legal victory, it was a victory for her to be a mother. Martell, on the other hand, was sitting in her apartment. The TV was on, but the sound was off. That's what people on screen were talking about. Someone said he was trying to change, someone said he was just acting. But Martell didn't care much about these things anymore. The real noise was inside his heart. A frame hung on the wall in his room, an old photo with Melody and the kids. That image remained in front of him, but every day it seemed a little dimmer. He said to himself, "I wanted everything, but could not handle anything." At night when he sat alone, a notification came on his phone. Advertisement for Melody's new brand, M. Happy colored lights, bright faces, and a sound in the background. Rebirth isn't about changing your past. It's about owning it. Martell hung up the phone gently. "She did it. She really did it," he muttered. For Melody, life was no longer just survival. It had become a mission. He started a new program called M Foundation. The aim was to help women who were suffering from domestic problems, separation, or social pressure. On the first day, he spoke to dozens of women in a hall. Each face was different, but the same question in every eye: are we able to live again? Melody took the mic and said, "I want to tell you all one thing. If someone broke you, so understand the Creator has given you a chance to recreate." There was silence in the hall. Some women cried, and Melody felt this is his real destination. Martell began trying to change himself. He adopted a different attitude while meeting the children. Now he didn't just bring gifts, rather it used to bring time. He would listen to stories, help them with their homework, and sometimes he would sit quietly and just watch them. These were moments he might never have understood before. One day, when he brought his son from school, the child said, "Dad, Mama said you're trying to be better." Martell smiled and replied, "Your mom is right." That sentence shot through his heart like an arrow. But this time, there was peace, even in the pain, because he knew Melody is no longer the enemy, rather a mirror in which he can see his true identity. At night, Melody was sitting on her couch. There was a moon in the sky and a soft silence in the room. The children were asleep. He lit a candle and raised his hands in prayer. "God, if my journey gives hope to anyone, so make my life a goal." A tear fell from his eye, but this time, he is not weak. Rather, it was a tear of gratitude. Melodies, statements, pictures, and videos were all over the internet. Melody Seguin, She Built Herself, and M Foundation were trending. Women were sending messages from all over the world. You inspired us. Your story is my story. I will also write my own life now, Melody wrote a post. I am not a hero. I'm just a woman whom life taught to get up again after being knocked down. A few days later, Melody was sitting in a park. The sun was setting. Children were playing. The air smelled of autumn. He took a deep breath and said to himself, "Finally, I'm free." This independence was not only of the court, it belonged to his heart. Now he is not afraid, lived by faith. The story is not over. Melody's life was now a message that even if you break, so you can rise again from your ashes. Martel was looking at himself in the mirror of his life. Melody to the world in her light. And there was a tacit agreement between the two that love can end, but honor and truth live forever. 3 months had passed since the court decision. Life seemed normal from the outside, but inside Martel, everything was broken, shattered, and empty. His days began with noise, and the nights were drowned in silence. Sometimes he would stand in front of the mirror and say to himself, "Is this the same Martel who had everything?" And every time the mirror showed him a strange face, his name was heard less and less on TV channels. Earlier, whenever there was talk of love and marriage, Huntsville. People consider Martel to be a symbol of power, success, and attractive personality. Now, whenever he is mentioned, people would bow their heads and say, "Alas, he has changed." Walking in the market, sometimes people would recognize a sarcastic smile on one's lips, pity in one's eyes, and some have hidden camera phones. Martel no longer liked the frames. It seemed to her the cameras captured her vulnerabilities, not her face. Melody's world, on the other hand, was filled with light. M by Melody Holt products took the market by storm. Every ad, every post had become a symbol of her freedom and courage. She is no longer just a businesswoman. Rather, she became a motivational icon. At a conference, when he was asked, "Melody, what is success to you?" So she smiled and said, "Success is when you adorn your wounds." This sentence went viral. People said this woman is not hiding her story. Rather, it is teaching the world. Melody uploaded a video with her mom for My Children. And for all the women who are winning in silence, at the end of the video, she says, "Life tests you to show your true self." This moment touched millions of hearts. Seeing Melody's success awakened a strange feeling within Martel. Not jealousy, but sense of loss. He felt empty even after having everything. One day he went to the park with his children. Melody was also there, but they only saw each other from a distance. Melody's face was soft, the silence on Martel's face. There was certainly distance between the two, but there was no hatred. This silence was perhaps more powerful than reconciliation. That evening, when Martel went to drop off the children, Melody opened the door. Both stood silent for a few moments. Then Melody spoke. "Thank you for being on time." This little sentence was nothing less than a reward for Martel. He felt for the first time, perhaps reform doesn't always begin with forgiveness. Rather, it is behavioral. At night, Martel opens his old laptop. The same files, the same business plans, the same dreams. See all once again. Then he wrote a note. "Maybe I wasn't a bad man. Just a man who forgot to listen." For the first time, he spoke the truth to himself. This was the first step to victory for him. A few days later, he went to a church. People were surprised to see him. He sat there silently, folded his hands, and prayed, "God, help me find myself before I lose everyone else." This prayer may have come from the heart for the first time. Time stood still for Martel. The same house that was once filled with laughter, noise, and children's voices. Now it was humming. Wine in a glass, a meaningless program on TV. And that picture on the wall, Melody and the children, which was now just a memory for him. Martel saw Melody's name on her phone screen several times. Inwardly, he wished he could just send a message, "I've changed." But the finger stopped. Because he knew some doors don't open again after closing. And some words, however true, it's getting late now. Melody turned her life around. She presented herself to the world as not just a mother, but a positive woman. TV interviews, reality shows, business conferences, wherever she went, people saw her as a sign of strength. But those close to him knew how many broken nights are behind this power. One evening, she sat in her car past the Huntsville route she once drove with Martel. He looked at his eyes in the rearview mirror and smiled slowly. "I don't look back now." One day, Martel took courage. He waited for Melody outside the children's school. Melody got out of the car, and Martel, standing before him, said quietly, "I don't blame you. I lost myself." Melody saw her not out of hate, not out of pity, just with a quiet respect. "Martel, you had everything, but you lost yourself. And I lost everything and found myself." The words shot through Martel's heart like an arrow. Melody sat in the car with the kids and went, never looked. Car with the kids and went, never looked. Back a few months later, Melody watched the sunset from the balcony of her new home. The children were playing and peace was in the air. He looked up at the sky and said softly, "Thankfully, God restored my peace." Far away, Martel sat in his empty house, was watching old videos, Melody songs, children's laughter, and reflect on your own mistakes. At one point he smiled and said, "Perhaps this is not my end. Rather, it is my lesson." Certain decisions in life break us, but in these decisions lies our real power. Melody learned that silence is not weakness. Rather, it is a cry that only he can hear, whoever broke himself. If you too are going through a similar battle, whether it's a relationship or yourself, remember, your silence is not your weakness, it is your victory. No matter what the world says, just be true to yourself, because in the end, unfinished dreams are those dreams which make us complete people.